They hired this new guy at work last week. He's a disabled veteran. He's in a wheelchair, and this morning in the break room, he made fun of me. He hurt my feelings. He embarrassed me in front of a bunch of NPCs. All these coworkers were standing around laughing at me. He said I had a high-tide forehead, and I was dressed like a speakeasy precision pour bartender, whatever the fuck that means, and that I sound like Ben Shapiro doing an impression of the Joker. This aggression will not stand, and neither will he. So I ran to my boss's office. I kicked in his door. I said, "Boss, you gotta fire that new guy." He said, "Why?" And so I told him how he teased me. He said, "Joe, I'm not gonna lie to you. That's pretty funny." I said, "I know it's funny. It's hilarious. And that's the problem. You can't have two funny guys in the office." He said, "Joe, who's the other funny guy?" I said, "I'm the other funny guy." He said, "I think it's funny that you think you're funny." I said, "Are you trying to be funny right now? Because that's not funny." He said, "Joe, I can't fire somebody for competitive comedy." And I said, "You don't understand. I'm Joe McJoe of the Clan McJoe. Just Joe is fine. And there can be only one." He said, "Listen to me. I'm not going to fire this guy. He's a good hire, and I should know because I hired him." I said, "Okay, I see what's going on here. You're showing preferential treatment to this DEI hire, which explains why you gave him front row parking. Listen to me. There's only two options when you have more than one clown in the office. Number one, we become enemies, and we tear this place to the ground in a hilarious fashion. Option two, we become friends, and we tear this place down in a hilarious fashion." He said, "Joe, you're not telling the whole story. Over the past week, I've had a few complaints about you from the new guy, and from the way he tells it, you've been kind of an asshole, and I'm proud of him for standing up for himself." I said, "If he stood up for himself, I'd be proud of him too. Heck, I'd be amazed, because that would be a miracle. Now tell me, what are these asshole shenanigans that I'm being accused of?" He said the first complaint was that in the break room, you took all the good snacks and you put them on the top shelf. I said, "Yeah, I totally did that, but only because of the rat infestation." He said, "Joe, we don't have rats. We have squirrels. And I talked to an exterminator. I'm handling it." The second complaint is that at our quarterly meeting last week, you had to give a presentation, and you challenged everybody to a dance-off, and then you gave your presentation while doing the Running Man for 37 minutes. I said I was just trying to get some cardio in, and 37 minutes is a long time. Just admit it, you're impressed. He said, "I am impressed. I've never seen somebody sweat so much." The third complaint was that you put out-of-order signs on all of the elevators. I said, "Oh yeah, I did do that. Also, I put a standing desk in his office, which I think is objectively and ergonomically very funny." He said, "Joe, none of that is funny. This is an office, not a sitcom." I said, "If it was, this place jumped the shark a long time ago and never landed."